Hey there guys, I just got out of work, a little tired, got an urge to replace the core support, the radiator core support on my Mk4 Jetta, which I've been putting off. I had a wrecking yard trip I went to a while back ago that I went and picked up core support, good shape. The core support that's on my Mk4 Jetta right now, it was replaced. I believe it was in a previous accident from the previous owner, and they put a cheap plastic core support on there. I think it's plastic, maybe it is fiberglass, I'm not sure, but it's not straight, it's aftermarket, so my hood alignment, my fenders and bumper are a little off. So I wanted to do that, and not only that, I'm going to show you guys a little bit of my wrecking yard haul from yesterday. I went Memorial Day, Monday, picked up a few things for the GTI project, so I'll show you guys some of that. I got a lot of cars to move to get out of the way of the lift so I can move my Jetta over to the lift and get started. Since doing a radiator core support on a Mk4 is really easy. It's a few bolts, and you don't have to pull the radiator off with it, so it can all come off separately, and your radiator and all that should be able to hang there in the front, or at least that's how I believe it to be based on my disassemblies I've done at the wrecking yard when collecting parts. My last disassemblies that I did were on Mk4 VR6s, so mine's a 2-liter. We'll see if that's any different. I doubt it. They're all the same, really. So yeah, I'll show you guys core support in the car, just show you why I'm really changing it. And yeah, so this is the replacement. It's really dirty. It's been sitting here. I'm gonna rinse it down before I put it in the car. It was off of I believe it was a 02 TDI, I'm not sure. I think the emissions or whatever, I don't know, it's probably the same for all vehicles, I'm not entirely sure, but this is an original. So yeah, I'm gonna clean it up and get it installed. Now let's show you the car. So that right there is my Mk4 Jetta. Show you the misalignments. So I have this right here, you see that very large gap. I got this awkward gap going on there. I've got an overhang over here. You can see how that fits over that. That's not supposed to be that way, and you can see the gap difference. It comes up to the edge of my headlight and here. Oh, and you can see how this is not centered with the emblem. So yeah, please excuse the filth on my car. I had the car parked on the side of the yard where there's a lot of trees, and we had rain and we had all sorts of things happen. So when you live on a dirt property, it's really hard to keep a vehicle clean, let alone a white vehicle. So I'm gonna get to cleaning it. Not sure about tonight, maybe tomorrow I'm gonna give it a wash. But today I want to actually get the core support swapped out and see if that fixes all my alignment issues on the front end. So it's not super critical, but it bothered me, so I'm gonna get that straightened out. So yeah. So I figured I'd show you guys some of the things I brought back from the wrecking yard. This is not all of it, the rest is in my truck. So these guys, out of a 2001 Mk4 VR6, since that's the type of engine just about exactly that I am going to be putting in this GTI, I picked up injectors because one of the 6 injectors were broken, and these are about $5.50 a piece at the wrecking yard, so I grabbed, there's 4 here because I, shocker, managed to break 2 of them on my way pulling them out of there. It's a huge pain, and yeah, they're very delicate. So, but 4 is more than enough. I'm going to use these for the swap. This is part of the whole engine cover that I may or may not run. I got the other part of it here and over here. But yeah, this is all the hardware I pulled off the front end. I got these parts of the wiring loom for the Mk3 fuel pump. I'm going to be running a Mk3 VR fuel pump on the GTI, and as well as a fuel tank, which I'll show you in a second. Picked up a new belt tensioner. The one that I was going to use that came with the engine swap is actually broken here, and this, I don't remember how much it cost, it was cheap. I've got all of the wires. These are also pretty cheap. Buying these brand new are extremely expensive. Usually with the kits I looked on, like FCP, which I like. I know I like FCP Euro, but they're like $200 for those, and plus whatever else they come with. This is the fuel filter housing that I'm going to be putting in here. You can see inside here I got all my cleaned up coolant hoses. These are all clean and ready to go into the swap. I'll show you guys the other ones I picked up at the wrecking yard, because some of the ones that I got with the swap were damaged. Flanges are damaged or hoses were cut from previous owners. So I picked some up off of another Mk4 VR6, the same one I got those injectors from. So yeah, I'll also show you guys this. This is the linkage, Mk4 linkage that I'm going to be putting in the GTI, and this is the transmission that I bought. It looks terrible right now. The previous owner of this painted it, and I pressure washed it. I sealed the things that could potentially get damaged if water got in, but yeah, I pressure washed it, and so yeah, this is all primer and exposed metal. So I'm actually going to repaint this probably in a nice silver, make it all uniform. It came with the Mk4 linkage or counterweight and tower, all this, which is great, but this is the early Mk4 ones with the ball connections, and I don't really want to run these. I want to run the ones that go on the actual shaft with the C-clip that pops into this area, and it's far easier to maintain and they don't get all loose like this. So really quick, this is what's in the back of my truck. That is the Mk3 fuel tank that I pulled out at the wrecking yard yesterday. I managed to get that with a cap and no lines cut. You see all my lines all over. These are the straps right here for it. Those are the coolant hoses that I picked up because this plastic flange right here on mine is broken. I needed that. This one right here, that one here, is was held together by multiple hose clamps and some sort of, I don't know, makeshift way that someone wanted to attach them together because they probably had a leak. This one someone had cut and I needed a replacement of that. There's still one more evap line that I need, and as I got to the wrecking yard, someone was taking it, so I need to find another one. It was the only VR6 at the wrecking yard at the time, so I need to find one. So I'm gonna get the car moved on the lift. I'm gonna back the truck up to it so I can unload this gas tank and the hoses and stuff like that. Don't like driving around with the stuff in the back of the truck. But yeah, so then we'll get started on the Jetta. Now we can start taking things apart. So, it started raining, go figure, when I want to do something. Supposedly it'll pass in an hour, so it'll be nice and dark by then, so it'll make it real easy to record for the video. So yeah, I'll see you guys then. Rain has stopped. I'm gonna get started. It's gonna be a little dark. I'm gonna see how good a footage I can get in the dark. I'm gonna be using my flash for most of it, so we're gonna see. Yeah, so front wheels have to come off first, and then the bumper covers. So once you get your wheels off, now you can see my custom slotted rotors. Thought I'd show those off. Those are cool. You have things that must be removed inside here up until this one. So you have 1, 2, 3, and down here you'll have 1. I have 2 here because I have tech screws holding on my aftermarket's GLI balance. So yeah, remove all of those on both sides of the car. Might be able to do this without removing the wheels by turning the steering wheel left and right. Turn it left to do the right fender and right to do the left fender if you have enough room to fit a Torx in. So yeah, but I'm doing this because it's easier. I have to lift, so it's an option. Now these are off. 1, 2, and 3, and then my 2 are out down there. You'll only have 1. Make sure the fender liner is now loose. It should, yeah. You only need to remove those. You don't need to remove any of these up here. So yeah. Okay, now the grill section needs to come off, but this has to come out first. It's held in by that little pin. You see this right here needs to come up. Don't lose this pin. You need this to put this back in. There's a pin inside. You can see that little shiny bit inside there. Don't lose that. Okay, so this is the piece that I took off. Focus. Of right there. And now this is loose. This is separate. Now the grill will come off separate from this piece. Okay, so there's the grill off. You can see previous owner did this. This is overspray of Plasti Dip. No one really ever sees it. I don't worry about it too much. It's a pain to get the stuff off, and I want to get it off one day. But as far as the clips are concerned, they clip into here. These are where the clips are. And this is where the clips are here. And there's the little locators in the bottom here. So, oh, and this one right here. So, yeah. And there's the grill there. That's off. It's pretty easy. You just need to really try and stick your screwdriver back here and pry it forward like this. And like this, and carefully work this one out. Shouldn't be too difficult. It took me only a second. Kind of hard to record me doing it right now because it's so dark out, and I'm trying to get this done within a reasonable amount of time, so yeah. Now, you should take these out. These are really easy. It's a matter of pushing this down right here, like that, and like that, and they come out pretty easy. So, and that gives you access to this guy right here. Mine's broken, you can see there, the piece of plastic, but regardless, you need access to this on both sides. Right there. So, now you're gonna need a T30 for these all across here, up to here, and both of those guys. Okay, all of those are out. Now we can work on pulling the bumper off. Just be mindful of your side markers. These wires will hang, so you gotta disconnect those from the back while you're holding the bumper. Or the bumper cover, rather. Bumper's off. Also took the foam off right there. This is your foam. It slips right off. Now you're going to use your T25 again on all of these. Your headlights. Both headlights are off. You've got to disconnect these from the back. You have to push this piece right here down and pull back at the same time. They can be kind of hard. Try not to break them. These Volkswagens, or any old car, considering this car is a 2002, they all get brittle over time. So yeah, now we want to disconnect the hood release cable. It's back here. It's kind of hard to show that. There's a ball down there. You see that ball? That needs to slide out of its little capture there, and then this little plastic, that plastic right there, that has to be pushed back. Push it back, and I actually stick the screwdriver right behind it, and I push it back like that. So you need to remove this one, I believe this one, and this one on both sides. You see where mine's broken here. And then after all of those are taken care of, it should be loose, and then you need to unbolt, I believe, this guy right here. This is another Torx there. That needs to come out. And then the whole thing should pull out. Just be careful. You may need to support your radiators here. It might hang. So it looks like it was basically all of the above. Remove this guy here, this one there, this one, and this one on both sides. And you want to remove this plug. You want to disconnect this, don't forget this. that's it off. It seems okay. It's sort of, you gotta be careful with this because I'm gonna have to maneuver this radiator back into place. Don't like it resting on this too much, but it's okay for now. This is my old one, broken there. I'm gonna need to disconnect this because there's a cable that goes to this that plugs into the car to, I believe it's the sensor that lets you know the hood is open. I think on this one, I may or may not have cut the cable because at the time I didn't know. I got this a while back ago. So yeah, I need to do that. But otherwise, that's about it. Assembly is reverse of disassembly. So it's the next morning. I got everything reassembled. It's not perfect still, but it definitely looks better. There is still a slight overhang here, but it's very minor compared to how it was. I think later I need to adjust the hood on that corner, loosen that, maybe loosen that a touch, and push it forward, or rather back. And I need to get some bumpers, the rubber bumper adjusters that go underneath the hood that you can adjust the height with. So you can see the shadows of those two dents on the front of my hood too. I'd like to pull those out. But yeah, need some minor adjustment, but it's definitely improved. I think I may wash the car when I get home from work here in a little while, so yeah.